Hi, and welcome back to this week's Parsha share on Sefer Maayan Beit Hashoeva. I'd like to share two snippets from the Rosh Schwab this week in the beginning of the Parshat Pekudei, where we see the beginnings of the Hakamas HaMishkan, the actual construction of the Mishkan, the accounting that goes with it. There's a famous Medrash Tanchuma, which says that the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu goes through the entire accounting of all the materials used in the construction of the Mishkan in this Parsha is because supposedly people doubted Moshe Rabbeinu and perhaps thought that he was taking some of the materials for himself. Perhaps he was skimming a little bit off the top. To make sure that he was totally above board, he went through this exercise of cheshboning out every single material that was used in the Malachas HaMishkan so that they would know that absolutely everything that was donated was actually used and that he didn't pocket a thing, so that his moral character would absolutely be stellar and upheld in every single way. However, Medrash says at a certain point, Shachach elef ushva meos v'chamisha v'shivim shekel. He had a discrepancy in the final accounting, a discrepancy of 1,757 shekel, which seemed to have gone missing. And the Medrash says the particular shkalim that he forgot about were the ones that were used for the vavin la'amudim, the small hooks that connected the poles that constructed the chatzer, the courtyard of the Mishkan. Velo hayu nirin, they weren't visible, they were hidden, they couldn't really be seen after the Mishkan was constructed, so as Moshe Rabbeinu looked around, they were easily forgotten, and he missed them when he was accounting for everything that was there. And so it looked like he took in those 1,757 shkalim, but didn't use them in the construction of the Mishkan, but really they were there, he just didn't see them. Hischel omed tama, he was very nervous, he was very afraid, he was shocked. Miyad heir HaKadosh Baruch Hu es einav v'tala einav v'ra shayu asuyin vavin la'amudim. All of a sudden Hashem opens his eyes and allows him to see at the corner of the eye that, oh yeah, there's those vavin la'amudim, those hooks that I forgot about, and that would account for the remaining silver that I didn't have an accounting for in my cheshbon. It's a famous medrash. So Rosh Schwab says, "Tzarich biur inyan sheshachach es ha'elef, etc. Uma ratzu chazal lahoros lanu b'sipur zeh." We have to understand what kind of strange story there is going on here, and what exactly Chazal were trying to teach us by the fact that Moshe forgot this piece of the accounting, and the fact that the Medrash uses this lashon of lo hayu nirin, they weren't seen, and then miyad He'ir HaKadosh Baruch Hu es einav, Hashem opened his eyes. What exactly the significance of these words and of the story in general? So he answers and he says, Hinei ma'amado shel Moshe lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu haya tamid bebechinas omed ki lifnim min haklayim. Moshe as a character was the type of person whose behavior and role was always like the inside man, the person who was closest on the inside of the circles of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vehisiach daito min ha'amudim shayu letzad chutzo kalei ha'chatzer. Symbolically speaking, the Medrash is trying to convey that as an inside man, as a person close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he forgot those things that were on the extremities of the Mishkan. The Vavim were on the outside of the Mishkan walls. It's something that he could easily forget about because his view of the Mishkan was from the inside out rather than from the outside in. V'gam mevavehem v'tzipu rashem v'chashukeim shel kesef. All of those things were on the outside and therefore were forgotten. Lo hayu nirin. That's what the Medrash means. Lo hayu nirin to Moshe because he was on the inside. V'hasiba lezahaita sheminhag Moshe Rabbeinu haya lios muvdal umefurash mehamon ha'am. Moshe's practice was always to be as separate as possible, as distinct as possible, as removed as possible from the nation. All of a sudden, the Baskel comes out and says the missing silver in the accounting is the one you use for the Vave Ha'amudin. And the explanation for that is here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu einav, Heyosha Mishkan Nivne min Devas Ha'am, Sarech Shiyeh Mabato Shel Moshe Gami Bachutz Lahaklayim Bekerev Ha'am. The lesson of the Medrash, and really the lesson of Hashem to Moshe through the story of this Medrash, is that Moshe Rabbeinu, it's very nice that you're an inside man. It's very nice that you're lifnai v'lifnim, inside the kalei hachatzer, inside the total precincts of the Mishkan, submerged in Kedusha, closest to me. However, this Mishkan was built on the nidavos, the donations of the nation. And the nation's view is from the outside in, not from the inside out. You can't remain here cloistered and separated from the world of the people that built this very sanctuary. That's not healthy, that's not holiness, and that's not the role of a manhig, of a true leader. His view, his vision, his insight into the world should also be from the perspective of the people who are looking in, from the perspective of the nation who are standing on the outside of the kalaim, outside of the poles of the chatzer. If you were out there with them, Hashem says, Moshe, you wouldn't have forgotten the Vavei Ha'amudim. Kizeu tafkido shel manhig Yisrael. That is the role of a leader in Israel. Asher yetze lifnehem, asher yavo lifnehem, as Moshe Rabbeinu eventually says in the end of the Torah, as the appointment of Yeshua comes near, that he wants a manhig, a true leader that will go out before them and come in before them. Velo yitzamtzem es atzmo tamid. Person's not going to cloister himself always and separate himself always. Rak tamid lifnim min haklayim. A person is not going to be always cloistered inside the precincts of the Mishkan, so to speak, but outside, involved with the people, seeing life from the perspective of people. The lesson of the story in this medrash is Moshe Rabbeinu. The reason you missed those vavim is because your perspective on life and on the people is skewed. Your perspective as an outsider, separated from the people. But the role of a Manhig Yisrael is to be with the people. And so Hashem opens his eyes to see that, to realize that if he had been standing on the outside, he would have seen the Vavei Ha'amudim. Moshe Rabbeinu learns this important lesson from the accounting in our Parshat. One more piece here from Rav Schwab. The Torah tells us, towards the beginning of the Parsha, that the Mishkan was established b'yom hachodesh harishon ve'echad lachodesh, the first day of the first month, meaning Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first day of Nisan. So the Psikta Rabati, the Medrash, tells us that there was a specific reason why Hashem chose to establish the Mishkan on Aleph Nisan. After all, the Mishkan was finished way earlier, finished already back in Kislev. Finished in Kislev. Why did Hashem wait to Tevet, Shvat, Adar, all the way to establish the Mishkan in Nisan? Why didn't he do it then and there when it was ready? Amar Reb Chanina beKafe beKislev Nigmar Melechas HaMishkan. Already in Chafei Kislev, very significant date, of course, future date of the Chanukah story. The Malacha for the Mishkan was absolutely completed. But on that day, ve'asa mekupal ad echad b'Nisan. They folded it up, they put it away, they stored it, so to speak, until the first of Nisan, a couple of months later. That's why the pasuk in our parsha says, on the first of Nisan, the first day of the first month, you shall establish, you shall put up the Mishkan. That was a future directive because the Mishkan was actually completed much earlier. The entire time that it wasn't put up, that was ready to be put up, but it was laying aside and stored and packed up, so to speak, the people were complaining and yelling at Moshe Rabbeinu, why didn't you put it up right away? Shemadofi irabo, maybe there's something wrong with it, maybe the production didn't go well, maybe there's something wrong with us. Maybe there's a reason it's not going on. People had all kinds of wild theories, as you know people do, wondering why is it that we can't put it up yet if we were so excited. We were commanded to do this venture, and now it's ready to go. Why don't we just put it up? Aval tam lazehaya, but the reason why Hashem delayed it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu chashav le'arev simchas hamishkan bechodesh shenolad bo Yitzchak. Hashem wanted the Mishkan to be established in the month when Yitzchak was born, which is the month of Nisan. So despite the fact that it was ready in Kislev, he delayed the construction to the first of Nisan to coincide with the anniversary of that event. However, if that's true, me'ata hifsid Kislev shenigra hamalacha ba. It's a big slight to the month of Kislev. Kislev could have been the month of the year that was zochet to have the Hakamas HaMishkan. Hashem took it away to give it to Nisan. How does that feel to the month of Kislev? Seems to be an insult. Therefore, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Alai l'shalim lo, I have to repay Kislev in some way. Mashilim lo, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Chanukas Beis Chashmonai. The way Hashem repaid Kislev is that in the future there would be a Mishkan, a Mikdash established in that month as well. And that, of course, the Chanukah story in the time of the Chashmonaim, as the Mikdash is rededicated and reestablished in the month of Kislev, giving it back that which it lost in the original story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, as the Mishkan is established in Nisan. Rav Schwab has two questions on this very interesting medrash. Number one, Tzarech biur. Ma hashaychus hamiyuchedes ben Chanukas hamishkan l'leidas Yitzchak. Sheratzak HaKadosh Baruch Hu shaChanukas hamishkan tia dafka b'chodesh Nola b'Yitzchak. What did Hashem see as the connection between establishing the Mishkan and the birth of Yitzchak? So much so that he delayed for months and months the establishment of the Mishkan in order for it to coincide with the anniversary of that event. Number two, what kind of consolation prize is it to say that along in the future, the Chashmonai will establish a Mikdash in the month of Kislev? V'nir lefarshari b'shas leidas Yitzchak, Amra Sarah. We could explain as follows. There was something particular about the birth of Yitzchak that we have in common with the establishment of the Mishkan, and that's why Hashem wanted them to go together. If you think about the birth of Yitzchak, Sarah says, Tzechok asali Elokim kol hashameh yitzachak li. God made a joke on me, and anybody who hears this news that I'm pregnant and giving birth will laugh at me. And the Medrash Bereishis Rabbah over there says, Shehar be'akaros nifkedu ima be'osazman, harbe charashim nispakchu, harbe sumim niftechu, harbe shotim nishtefu. Many people were cured along with Sarah in that particular moment where she becomes pregnant. People who were blind were able to see. People who were deaf were able to hear. People who had all kinds of ailments were healed during that particular time. What that means is that the birth of Yitzchak was actually a simcha not just for their family, and not just for the future Jewish people, for the entire world. The moment of the birth of Yitzchak added joy and gladness to everybody around them. Whether you believe literally that everybody was healed at that moment, or you just believe that the Medrash was saying it figuratively, what the Medrash is trying to convey is that the birth of Yitzchak was something broader than just himself and his family. The birth of Yitzchak was something that brought simcha to the entirety of the world, to all the Bnei Hador. That is the common denominator with the establishment of the Mishkan. The establishment of the Mishkan was not just for Moshe, it was not just for the Jewish people, but it was something that was supposed to add joy and add holiness and add elevation to the entirety of the world, to all of existence, by the fact that Hashem had literally a foothold in this world, a place for Hashras Hashchina, whatever that means. The entire world would be affected. The entire world would be elevated. The entire world would be enlightened. Hashem wanted the two events to coincide because they both have that quality of radiating forth to change the entirety of the world. Hashem was waiting for the Mishkan to be established in that month, so all would realize and see that just like Yitzchak's birth affected the world, the Mishkan affects the world as well. Aval Bnei Yisrael, when they see it delayed from Kislev to Nis, they don't understand this. Lo hevinu davar zeh. They thought if it's not being established, it means we're not worthy of it ever being established. They didn't understand that Hashem was waiting for that particular time and event. They believed for all that time that they were complaining to Moshe that perhaps they would never be worthy. Perhaps the stain of the Chet HaEgel was so strong on them, they would never be able to recover, never be able to gain the closest HaKadosh Baruch Hu necessary to establish this new home and this Mishkan. Therefore, the entire time they were searching in their deeds, they were doing tshuva, they were self-analyzing, until it was established the first of Nisan. Then they understood why it was delayed, and then they stopped complaining to Moshe. They stopped that process. If all of that is true, says Rosh Schwab, we now have the answer to the second question as well. How was the establishment of Chanukah and Kislev a consolation prize for the month of Kislev for losing the Chanukas HaMishkan? Ke'ein hamatzav hazeh haya gam bimei HaChashmonai. Why? Because these situations were very similar. Shenichnesu Yavanim lahechal. The Greeks came into the Beis Hamikdash and they defiled it. Bnei Israel living in the time of the Hanukkah story saw all the defilement. They thought, we're no longer worthy of the Hashras Hashchina. The game is over. There's no more of this. Hayushruim Matzav Shel Yeush V'Tzar Gadol. They were depressed and they were in great pain. Ad Shirau Shemeha Eish Al Shel HaMizbech HaChadash Shebanu Nidluku Anera Shel Menorah V'Ira V'Amnei Skalu She'adolkim Shivas Yam. Until they see the light of the candles, which lasted for 7 days, then they knew that Hashras Hashchina was there. They knew they were worthy. They knew there was a reason for the delay until this time. Suddenly everything made sense from before. Their depression dissipated, and they realized Hashras Hashchina was a real possibility. Az Raush Ti'od Hashras Hashchina Baizeh V'Samchu Simcha Gedola. And that was their celebration. That's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu repaid the debt that he owed to the month of Kislev. Just like in Kislev in the desert, they entered the depression of realizing, thinking they were complaining to Moshe, maybe they would never be Hashras Hashchina, maybe we're not worthy, maybe the stain of Chet Egel will never go away. Hashem repaid them through the establishment of the Mikdash in the time of the Chashmonaim, because it's through that story that they got that immediate sensation that Hashras Hashchina was back, that they had reason to be hopeful, that they had reason to know there would be a future to the Jewish people. And so he didn't just repay them because, in Kislev we didn't establish the Mishkan, in Nisan we did, and therefore we have to establish a new Mikdash in that time to make him feel better or repay the month. No, the repayment to the month was trying to repay Bnei Israel in some way, to try to give them some type of compensation for that Yeush that they felt at that moment, which was replenished in the time of Hanukkah, where they gained the clarity to know that Hashras Hashchina would have a future. May we always be able to feel good about the future of the Jewish people and the ability for us to stay close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu under all circumstances, and may our simchas and our kedusha and our holiness be something that is a simcha l'chol b'nei hador, which is truly affecting the entirety of the world and elevating the world to great levels of simcha, just like the birth of Yitzchak and just like Hakamas HaMishkan. Shabbat Shalom.